0. To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. To prevent, your current balance is $16.08. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring, recording, and the location of your phone will be obtained. For more information about our privacy policy, please visit www.connectnetwork.com. After the beep, press 5 to accept this call. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring, recording, and the location of your phone will be obtained. Stay on the line to accept this call. Thank you for using GTL.
I don't consent to recording my call. You didn't have to put any money on here to accept this call, did you?
No, but it was a little bit different than a normal introduction. It said something about there's $16 left, so just FYI.
There's how much left?
Like $16 or something. Well, you know what? I recorded it. I can go back and listen to it right now, but I believe it was 16.
Okay. Well, all right. Had you put any money on prepaid call at one point?
Yeah, I did. There was several times that I did, but it was a while back. It's been over a week or so.
Okay, that might be what this is then. This might be money that you put on there.
Yeah.
Because I know if my mom put 40, probably what it is, it's if you put money on there. Now, when you put money on, did you have to enter your phone number? Do you recall?
Yeah, it's hard for me to recall. I do so many. Is it through JPay? I forget exactly how I have to add money. I always have to investigate each prisoner to remind myself.
That's probably what it is. This is funds that you put on the phone from way back when.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
Okay. All right. Well, at least I know that the funds that she put on there are strictly for her phone only, so I won't be able to call other people that way. Okay. No problem. Alrighty.
Okay, I texted that John Lamb, so don't hesitate to to call him, with whatever funds you do have, because I think, like I said before, he would be a real good contact. But not today. Hold on, Aaron, not today. Why not? Is he busy or? Oh, he's busy today, so he's just got back from a long trip.
Okay. All right. Do you happen to know if on your Lone Star 1776, if you got any of these letters that I wrote?
Well, more so than the YouTube video, it would be I've got a page set up for you guys. I've got a Mike, Pat, and Sue page for yearofjubilee.com, and I can read you. I got tons of letters from all of you guys. I got letter to Parliament Finn Donnelly, letter to Senator Chuck Grassley, letter to Donald Trump Part 1, Part 2, letter to Judge Lippman, letter to Mr. Logan, letter to Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam, Mike Parsons 5th notice, Mike Parsons bio with pic, Mike Parsons petition to SCOTUS, Mike Parsons petition for Article 3, Section 2 court, letter from Mike, letter from veteran Al Campbell, veteran Bill Boyer, letter from Sue Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a lot more than that. I mean, I could keep going.
All right. Where exactly would I go to see those if I wanted to tell somebody? Would they go to YouTube or would they go just to Lone Star?
If they want to download the letter, well, there's two places. They can go to Year of Jubilee, Jubilee spelled with one E, just like the King James Bible spells it. And and then after yearofjubilee.com, put a / and then put Mike, Pat, Sue with no spaces, all lowercase. Mike, Pat, Sue, and they'll come up with your page. Or they can just go to yearofjubilee.com and click on the More button, and it'll list Mike, Pat, Sue page. And then they'll see letters from prison from you, Mike, and Pat. And then there's tons of videos, too. And then the LoneStar1776.com YouTube channel, if they just search for Mike Parsons, every single video that we've ever done, you call him from prison, will be on that YouTube channel.
Okay, but are the letters on the YouTube channel?
I probably did read them out loud, yeah. If it came in, more than likely there's a video of me reading it into YouTube, but a lot of people like to hear it on YouTube, but then if they don't like to hear it on YouTube, they can download the PDF file.
Okay. All right, I've got a guy here that's fixing to get out, and he was wanting to look at this stuff and try to afford. He's a young guy. He's 24, and he's into this social media, and he said he thought he might be able to help bring some awareness to it, and he just wanted to know where he could find stuff. So if there's anything that's more compelling than others.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good to have somebody focused on you because we got like 40, and the phone pretty much rings a lot, and it's hard for me. I'm just like a vessel that like stuff comes in one funnel, and I try to click.
Right.
What'd you say, Aaron? Crowdsource. I try to crowdsource awareness about unjust prisoners.
Yep. Well. I will let him know then, and I greatly appreciate all of your and Mrs. Davis's help.
Yeah, no problem, mate.
Definitely will try to steer him towards those sites.
Yeah, you bet.
I'll wait until I guess tomorrow to try to reach out to John.
Yep. Is tomorrow a good day to reach out to John, you think? She said, yeah.
Is there a good time?
Since I can't get a hold of him, it'd be almost impossible. I would say probably in the afternoon or evening.
Okay. I didn't know if he, what his work schedule was like. He might be out on a farm and have certain things he does at certain times, or he might be in the city.
Yeah, I think he's got a real, farm kind of life and way out in the country, and but I think his phone still works, so. Aaron said he's an early riser, but I don't know since he's been traveling if he's going to sleep in one day or not.
How old is he?
I'd say he's in his mid-40s.
Okay.
He's got bravery off the charts, man. He really, he's a bulldog. What are you saying, Aaron? 11 children. He's got 11 children. Doesn't have a Social Security number. Amish.
None of his kids have Social Security numbers either, right?
No. They were all born at home. He, makes his own food.
No birth certificates.
Exactly. His birth certificate is a Bible, a family Bible, where they open it up.
I talked today, and we had a little. They have a church ministry that comes here, and I talked about that today. He was talking about they had a upcoming child dedication on 13th of May. And I said, a lot of churches are going back to that, and they're getting back to listing their families in their Bible, and they're getting away from birth certificates so that they're not giving pledge of their children to this corporate government. They're giving pledge of their children. They're dedicating their children to Christ, and the church is taking a responsibility for the children as well. So as opposed to the government taking control of your children, you're putting it in the hands of the Lord.
Yeah.
You got the church as a backup.
Yeah, and this guy's he's not your typical Amish because he's very familiar with how to use computers. I think he's the Amish are extremely pacifist, but he's not like that. And so he was raised Amish, but he understands how wicked the world is. When they murdered Lavoy Finicum, he immediately went to where the spot where Lavoy was murdered, and he said it changed his life. And he's a very, very popular guy too. A lot of people follow him. And, so he would be a real good asset to get in your corner to tell your story to. And I think he would understand, when you talk about this, you ain't gonna surprise him when you tell him the government set you up falsely and has mistreated you and entrapped your wife. He's going to understand that completely. He knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah. And see, because me and Mrs. Parsons would grow about 95% of our food, and every morning is like an Easter egg hunt. I go out and I round up eggs that are free range, laid everywhere, all over the place, and I would go milk goats, and of course Mrs. Parsons would when I'm not there. But so, yeah, definitely we probably have a lot in common, and it had my family had the wherewithal and knowledge to know better, and not gotten birth certificates and Social Security numbers, I would never have been in. It's only by those two things that they have access to the funds from the trust.
Yeah.
They created a trust fund from the birth certificates, and that's where the money comes from.
I heard a story.
There's no money.
I heard a story from a man. He also didn't have a birth certificate, and he got thrown in prison. I think it was because of he didn't appear to court or something. It was some stupid thing. They wanted to keep him in prison for a long, long time. But after 3 months, they threw him out because he didn't have a birth certificate, and he was told they can't make any money off of him because he didn't have no dang. So getting a birth certificate, and you know what his advice was? He said, never, ever get an attorney. He said, if you get an attorney, you're basically like, giving up. I mean, they're going to throw you to the wolves every time. So he said, never get an attorney. Don't get an birth. Some of us we were raised with a Social Security number, but we can always expatriate and, remove ourselves from the system. So.
Well, and here's the thing. We need to find people that have done that have had success in it, that it's verifiable success, because here's the thing, the system's not going to tell you what to do, and they're damn sure not going to tell you if you're successful. They're going to want you to think that you're not successful.
Ed Brown is going through the process right now, and he recommends people go listen to this Anna Von Wright's lady, and I don't know if she's good or bad, but that's what Ed Brown says.
Well, how's he listening to her?
I don't know. I don't know if she writes them letters or people send him her articles, but he, I don't know if he has a little radio in his prison, but they tried to kill him like 8 times. They hate Ed Brown.
Oh, yeah. I can relate.
Yeah, they tried to kill you too, right?
Well, I mean, punching me in the mouth while I'm strapped to a chair, that's one thing, but, when they send a 23-year-old dude that weighs, 225, 35 pounds, is built like a linebacker to, break my ribs and try to kill me when I'm, been starved for 6 months, that's pretty much clear cut. They're trying to kill me, and then
a special place in hell for these people. There's a special place in hell for these people. There's a special place in hell for these people.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't hear you clearly, but I just wanted to hear it again.
The Bible talks about levels of hell, and to do what they've done, and they're not going to get away with it. I really believe that, and the Bible says everything that's been done in the dark will be brought to the light.
These people don't believe in hell; they believe this is a once and done gig. Or some of them have been deluded into believing that they can do whatever they want, and that they get to start all over again. That it's reincarnation 101. No matter how evil that they are, they're still going to be able to get another shot at it. So why not, get all you can and be on the winning team? It's all about being on the winning team. Look, yesterday in Nebraska, they had 85,000 people sit there and watch a scrimmage game between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. In other words, the starters played against the people that are third and fourth string.
Yeah.
And 85,000 people went to watch this. I'm thinking, are these people insane, or do they just not have a life?
We can't get 100 people to show up at we had about 200 people show up at the 25th anniversary of Waco. It's like they murdered nearly 80 people, and we're having a memorial to remember the people that were murdered and to protest against this never happening again. We can maybe get 200 people there. 85,000 go watch people throw a pigskin around a field. It's insanity.
It's insane. These people are like children. They have, been pacified like children. It's all a distraction. The whole thing is nothing but a big distraction. Watch the football game. Listen to the soap operas and this nonsense, and don't look over here behind this curtain where this, this little neurotic little sociopathic stump of a witch is railroading innocent people.
Yeah. Hey,
not that I have anything against short people.
No, I understand. Pastor Broden gave a sermon today on the goodness and severity of God, and there's lots of scriptures that even have that specific phrase, the goodness and severity. And I was reminded, I think it's in Joshua chapter 7. I hope I'm right on that. But it talks about this guy named Achan. The Israelites were going to war, and they lost. And they got the tail kicked, and a lot of people were killed. And come to find out, this Achan guy had stolen some stuff he shouldn't have stole. And it talks about what the Israelites did to him once they found out. And, the severity of God, man, it's a brutal, brutal thing. They stoned him, and then they burned him and his family and his animals,
Well, when God speaks, people need to listen. When Christ speaks, people need to listen. And, I hear all these people talking about, just submitting to the government and all this stuff. And I said, well, with Christ, you don't have to kneel before him and beg him like a slave. He meets you straight up and wants you to follow him in his way, and that puts you on par. You're not supposed to be a slave, and that's the thing about your Creator. Your Creator loves you, and he's sending his Son to show you the way to stand up and to expose and overturn, and those people didn't get it. And today, I try to quote Christ and God all through this little thing. Every time they go around the question thing, and I would always respond with a Christ said and God said, and they're nothing but.
You have 1 minute remaining.
They're in the book of Acts and 1 Corinthians, and they're excellent quoting Paul. And I said, but well, this is what God said, and they don't like that. I mean, I sense the frustration in their responses every time I take them to where, well, God said this and Christ said this. They don't like that. I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know, Mike. It's an interesting world we live in. People don't want to stand up to wickedness, and people don't want to say the truth because they're scared to death. I've heard that it's you can tell how close someone is to God by how afraid they are of the government.
Exactly, and that's the thing. They're all about supporting the institution, and because of the institutionalized church structure, as opposed to having a direct line to God, they want you to have to go through some myriad of dudes or committees to be able to get to God. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, we're going to believe in a miracle. I know it's got to.
Thank you for using GTL.
You there, Mike? Yeah, cut him off. We're going to keep believing a miracle, and it's got to be tough sitting there day after day after day after day, separated from your wife, knowing your wife is in prison, and we're going to keep believing for a miracle.